Okay, so I'm going to do this video a little different than the rest. I'm going to show you step by step how you would go about rejecting or not rejecting a hypothesis. The question that I'm using is that some data that I found on one of these math websites. It says a sample mean of 42 students was taken, and given that X bar is 61, I'll write all this down in a second, that less than 57 students are going to be attending the basketball game. Sorry, I was reading. So it tells me that my X bar is 61. It gives me my sample mean of 42. And it gives me the standard deviation, thank goodness, of 15. Now, if I didn't have all these information, I just had a set of numbers, I would plug it into Excel, get my mean, get my standard deviation. I would have done that, but I wanted to do it different this time. Alright, next. It didn't give me my alpha, so it's automatically going to be 0.05. I know that's backwards. That's how I write it. Okay, great. So I have all my important information. Now, first step is to identify the null and the alternate and figure out which one is my claim. So my null hypothesis is going to be that weird U. I hope you can see this. And then my alternate hypothesis is going to be the weird U, the backwards U. And it's going to be the opposite. So your null is always going to have a equal to or be equal to some. And the alternate is also not. It's going to be the complete opposite. It's not going to have that, and it's going to be the different way. My claim on this one is here because it said less than. So this is going to be less than that, obviously. Okay, so you got all your important information. That is step 1. Step 2 is to set the value for the significant level. Well, alpha, I went with my gut because it didn't give me one. So 0.05, that's what we're supposed to use. Okay, determine the appropriate critical value. This is the fun part. So we're going to go by the formula, which is why I wanted to do it in hand, because you don't really need Excel to do it. Sorry, I had this written out, but then I messed up my first video, so I had to rewrite it. Okay, so we're going to do this in my calculator. So we're finding the z-score. We're finding that. That's what we're finding. So I'll just plug it in. 61 minus 57 divided by the standard deviation, which is 15. And then that is divided by the square root of my sample mean, which would be 42. Now those need to be in parentheses. Alright, we're going to do it on my calculator because we do not need Excel. 61 minus 57. 15 divided by the square root of 42. Sorry. And so then we're going to divide 4 divided by 2.315. We'll round it. So my z-score is going to be 1.73. So that is the z-score. The critical z-score. Now, that gets us that far. So now when we're trying to figure out the, I totally lied to you. That is the z, okay, I'm not stopping because I understand this problem a lot. The z-test statistic is what we just figured out. That's what it's actually called. Now, the critical z-score, which is what I just said, that would be what we did in class a couple of days ago, where, so my alpha is 0.05. And this is a two-tailed, this is a, hang tight, bear with me, I promise I know what I'm doing. So, you subtract this from 1.0, you get 95. So So you find 95 on our z-table. This is what I wanted to show you. This is why I did it this way. Okay, so 95 is going to be 1.645 because the 95 sits right in the middle of here. So my critical value is going to be 1.645. Alright, so I have my z-test statistic is 173 and my critical value. Now, if this would have been an equal to signs right here, I would have had a negative and a positive. That is important to know. Excuse me. Okay, so the way to go about this would be that you compare, so let's draw out our little thing. So the sun is pointing that way, so it's going to be a left tail. So I totally lied to you. 1.73. We're going to come up here. It's so much easier if you draw it out. If I would have been prepared. I keep changing up my numbers. Okay. So this is where I'm going to put my 1.73. That is my statistic. My t-test. My z-test. Help me. Okay. And so my critical value was 1.645. So that's going to fall right here. This area is the do not reject. It is the fail to reject. So because this is less than 1.645, we are not going to reject the null hypothesis, the claim. Do not reject the claim. I'm going over my time here, but if it were to ask me for my p-value, I could find that, and then I could compare that to my alpha. So that's like one of those other weird things you can go about. There's a lot of ways to do it, but this is me showing you that you do not need a computer and an Excel to find out if you're rejecting hypothesis. The only things you would need to configure would be your mean and your standard deviation if they only give you a set of numbers. Thanks. Bye.